Hi everyone, it's me Lubna. Today is Saturday, March 11th, 2023. This weekend I'm mainly studying for my pharmacology exam, which is on Monday at 7 a.m. I feel like every video I start with just talking about what exam I have coming up, but that's just my life right now. So I actually wanted to just share a little passage from a book, or it's actually a collection of essays that has really changed my life, and that's from Walden by Henry David Thoreau. And when I was 16 years old, I took a class in school called IB English. I took IB English in high school, and we had to read Thoreau's essays at Walden Pond, the essays he wrote at Walden Pond as part of that class. And I remember I was going through a lot at that time because my parents were getting divorced, and I was just kind of in a little bit of a rebellious phase of my life. And when I read Walden, especially the chapter Higher Laws, as well as the conclusion of Walden, it just really changed my life, because a lot of the things that he wrote in his writings were very inspiring. And one particular passage that he wrote really truly inspired me, and it's the last paragraph of the essay Higher Laws. And I'm gonna just read it out loud very quickly. It might be a little bit long, but I hope you stick around and listen to my reading of it. So here it goes. John Farmer sat at his door one September evening after a hard day's work, his mind still running on his labor more or less. Having bathed, he sat down to recreate his intellectual man. It was a rather cool evening, and some of his neighbors were apprehending a frost. He had not attended to the train of his thoughts long when he heard someone playing on a flute, and that sound harmonized with his mood. Still he thought of his work, but the burden of his thought was that though this kept running in his head, and he found himself planning and contriving it against his will, yet it concerned him very little. It was no more than the scurf of his skin, which was constantly shuffled off. But the notes of the flute came home to his ears out of a different sphere from that which he worked in, and suggested work for certain faculties which slumbered in him. They gently did away with the street and the village and the state in which he lived. A voice said to him, "Why do you stay here and live this mean, moiling life, when a glorious existence is possible for you? Those same stars twinkle over other fields than these. But how to come out of this condition and actually migrate thither?" All that he could think of was to practice some new austerity, to let his mind descend into his body and redeem it, and treat himself with ever-increasing respect. This passage is one that has really shaped my thoughts a lot. I have read it over and over again ever since I first read it when I was 16 years old. And basically the idea is of this man who has a day job. He works as a farmer, or he labors on like a field, or I don't really know what it is, but yeah, something like that. And at the end of the day, he has a moment where he's just sitting and he's listening to somebody playing a flute, and that sound, it really inspires him. It's just beautiful. And he realizes, like, why can't I live like that kind of life, that kind of a beautiful life surrounded by beautiful things like music and arts and literature? Why do I live this life that I have now and just working meaninglessly all day long? And of course, maybe there's meaning in the work that he does, but there's a better life possible for him. And he realizes that when he listens to the music from the flute and he looks up at the stars in the sky, in the night sky. And similarly, I feel the same way. Like every single day we have work to do. We do our daily work. We go to school. Like, I'm in medical school, so I have to go to lectures all day, and then class, and then study at the library. And it can become very robotic in a way. And at night, though, when I come home, I try to write in my journal and listen to some beautiful music, and do things that will make me realize that there's a better life possible. And I mean, there's more to life coming for me, and I have to kind of visualize that every single day and remind myself and treat myself with respect, treat my dreams with respect, value goals and dreams outside of medicine. And that's what that last line kind of says. All that he could think of was to practice some new austerity, to let his mind descend into his body and redeem it, and treat himself with ever-increasing respect. So sometimes when we are exposed to like things that really inspire us, such as writing or music or arts, then it causes us to kind of stand up a little straighter and treat ourselves with more respect, because we know like it's just beautiful in a pure way, and we want to emulate that kind of beauty in our own life. And it's hard to put into words, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like when we see something beautiful, it makes us want to be beautiful, and it makes us want to be kind of capture that thing permanently, like a beautiful a piece of music that we're listening to, some art that we're looking at. If it really affects us, then we want to embody it within ourselves. So that's just a passage I really wanted to share, and I wanted to get it down, record it, so that later on in my life I could look back and think about how this passage has affected me and has shaped my life over the past 10 years. So I'm 27 now, and I first read this when I was 16 years old. So it's been almost like 10 or 11 years since I read this, and I think about this passage a lot. And it always inspires me to have more self-respect and respect for my dreams and the beautiful life that I have in my mind, and not to let like the daily struggles of life as a student or whatever like make me feel like a slave to a system. I want to be free. In my mind, I'm always going to be free, because I have the goals and the dreams and the aspirations that I've always had ever since I was a little girl. Nothing can take these things away from me, and I hope that you also realize that nothing and nobody has the right to take away your dreams from you. And you should always remember that there's a glorious life that's possible for you, no matter where you are in life. Even if you're at the lowest of the lowest in your stage of life right now, if you feel like hopeless, just listen to some beautiful piece of music and think about the fact that a glorious, beautiful life is possible for you, and it'll help you to get out of your situation. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share today. And yeah, just like think higher, uplift your thoughts, transcend whatever situation you're in. And I hope you have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, or whatever it is, wherever you are in the world.